It's karaoke and old.
Are you
The fire burning red in a Judicial representing if it comes hard here. Big up Kidaki, Buxton massive. Hey Babylon boy, you go on like you know, like come son. Red.
Never joke, never joke, never joke. Oh, money never, money never, money never, money never, money never, money. I know what you conniving. Money, money never, money never, money, money never, money, money. You can keep your conniving money. When you've been up for a bum, in a bill tell me money. Now because your money done, you come with conniving money. When you had your pocket full, in a bill tell me money. Now because your money done, you hustle for tell me money. Yes, money never, money never, money, money never, money, money. I don't want you conniving money. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. That's all the money that me walk for. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. This is all the money that me walk for. I said money, neighbor. Money, neighbor, money. Money, neighbor, money. Money, I don't want you conniving money. Oh, Joseph.
Guyana and Guyanese, at home and abroad. Tune in the Guyanese Morning Time, hosted by Kadaki Amsterdam, where the sun always shines. Guyanese Morning Time, the people call it Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people call it Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. We rise up early morning watching Comes TV, where wisdom and knowledge, yes, it is the key. Exposing corruption over land and sea, where the wicked politician they try to trick me. Guyana is a land for everybody. With 6 races should live in harmony. Is one set of people getting aisle money. Is one set of people doing the thievery. Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. This is a program that you all can see. Sharing your views and your integrity. Like it, comment and share it all around. Pass it to your neighbor, safe and sound. A sad situation going on in this town. The voice of the people is getting trampled down. Out of the mouths of babes and sucklings, which has ordained me to sing. I sing Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, fooling the people. You're promoting evil. Stop lying to the people. You are a part of the cycle. Stop fooling people. You're promoting evil. Stop lying to the people. You are a part of the cycle. I say, Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. They got Breakford, Bork and Mark Benchcop. David Hines and Kadaki Amsterdam. Sherrod Duncan, Nigel London. Normal Brown and Gavin Matthews. Big up Paslow, poor people governor. Simona Brooms, Robin Simpson. Hampton Green and Winston Jordan. And yes, we can go right on and on. Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again.
The relatives and friends of young Quinton Bacchus, they deserve justice. The family, the relatives and friends of our in Boston, they deserve justice. The family, the relatives and friends of Peter Headley, they deserve justice.
And so when we say that Guyana is an apartheid state, we have the evidence to show.
It's karaoke and oldies night this and every Thursday with Al Christie and popular DJs at Club Twilight, Sideline down Buxton North.
Here, trust me, if you are on the East Coast, you're in Buxton, you're in Tongue, you're looking for a place to get away to, this is the place. The Cutters, mwah. And then, of course, the ambience is beautiful, fully air conditioned. The decor is on point, the music's on point, everything's on point. So if you want to find a nice little place where you can just drive out of town and have some drinks, have some food, you can call, you can order your stuff and just take it. You don't have to stay. Or if you want to stay here, that's what's up. And of course, they have special events for Valentine's. You can rent a hall. You can rent a hall, honey. You can rent a hall for weddings, for birthday parties, to have a bash. I hope he edits that out. But you know, whatever it is, this is definitely the place to be. So it's on Sideline Dam. You definitely want to ensure that you check this place out. But it's on your to-do list. All right, on your to-do list. This is definitely the place to check out, you know, a really cool, chill spot here in Buxton. I like this. This is Buxton needed this. We needed this. I needed this. You definitely need it too.
Are you planning your next visit to Oil Ridge, Guyana, South America? Well, let's accommodate you at Varon's Cheerful Country Manor. With free secured on-premises parking, our beautiful vacation air-conditioned home offers 3 beds, 2 bathrooms, a spacious kitchen, and all modern amenities. Located at Tushen, on the eastern bank of the mighty Essequibo and the western coast of Demerara, Varon's Cheerful Country Manor is just a stone throw from the ocean. Make that reservation now on Airbnb and VRBO. For contact, call us on 516-770-3053 or 592-685-3521. Make Varon's Cheerful Country Manor your home away from home.
All right, so you might be wondering where we are, still in Buxton at Club Twilight. That's where we are. So Club Twilight also has like an Airbnb as well. So you could come, drink, drunk, and come in the back here and lie down. Look at that. Look at that. Perfection. And the people come in the room and so on. The bed sheet matching the blind, matching the carpet, matching the this, matching the that. We know but we things in Buxton don't play with we. So definitely, if you want to come and you may be having a wedding or whatever, and you just want to overnight and just have a good time because you're gonna be drunk. We got too much road accidents, so you definitely want to come drink, have a good time. They have several rooms that you can rent. You have your toilet, you have your bath, you have your sink, you have your dining area, you have the. This is nice. I like it. Anyways, to my friends and my family, if you're looking for me, I'll be overnighting. Also, for those persons who are traveling in from overseas, you want a nice, cozy place out of town, then Club Twilight, call them up, look them up on social media. They have their own Facebook page, and ensure that you come up the side and have a good time. Have a good time. Have a good time. Sorry, I'm sorry. That's it.
Don't be a victim. Beat the heat with EC Crystals. Party ice in large and small quantities. Call 682-7981 or visit us at Club Twilight, Sideline Dam, Buxton North. EC Crystals, pure party ice. Stop running around like headless chicken. Go to Ashton's Marketplace for whole and cut chicken, beef, pork, processed meats like bacon, beef franks, smoked ham, ground pork, calabresa, and lots more. Ashton's offers wholesale and retail. Check them out. Call 613-2332 or WhatsApp 434-327-3955. Ashton's Marketplace at 72 Rob Street, Border.
All right, so today we are here at Club Twilight up in Buxton, and we are here to talk about all that's going on up here. Trust me, if you are on the East Coast, you're in Buxton, you're in Tongney, you're looking for a place to get away to, this is the place. The Cutters, mwah. Listen, I'll be having some just now again. We'll talk about that. And then, of course, the ambience is beautiful, fully air conditioned. The decor is on point. The music's on point. Everything's on point. It's just me. I need some work. But everything else that belongs to this club here is on point. So if you want to find a nice little place where you can just drive out of town and have some drinks, have some food, you can call, you can order your stuff and just take it. You don't have to stay. Or if you want to stay here, that's what's up. And of course, they have special events for Valentine's. You can rent a hall. You can rent a hall, honey. You can rent a hall for weddings, for birthday parties, to have a bash. I hope he edits that out. But whatever it is, this is definitely the place to be. So it's on Sideline Dam. You definitely want to ensure that you check this place out. But it's on your to-do list. All right, on your to-do list. This is definitely the place to check out, a really cool, chill spot here in Buxton. I like this. Buxton needed this. We needed this. I needed this. You definitely needed too. Thank you.
Comes out your son. You burn this swine when I want you shine. The tree of life, them I want you climb, cause them heart no kind. Comes, I say them heart no kind. Buxton Massive. Kidaki, read that.
You can get meat anywhere, but for the best cuts of chicken, beef, pork, mutton, and lots more, check out T&W Harris Butcher Shop, located in the East Rheinveld Market Meat Section. Call us on 609-7168, 641-4494. Ask for Rastaman. T&W Harris Butcher Shop for the best in fresh cut meats and lots more. How are you doing? How are you been? How was I last night? How was the weekend? How did you pass the weekend? What did you do over the weekend? How liberated do you feel? How enthusiastic do you feel about this new week, about this new year? It's old as far as I'm concerned. It's 6 days into 2025. It's the 6th of January 2025. And so, how are you doing? How are you feeling? Are you optimistic that things are about to change for the better? Because things are definitely going to change, but I can't say that they're going to change for the better. I hope they will change for the better. Good. What side of the bed you come after this morning? What you do with your weekend? Did you earn some money? Did you use your talent, your skills, your special gifts to make some extras? Talk to me. I want to know all of these things because all of these things are important to me. I tell people my politics is different. My politics is not just about political power. And so my politics is about empowering people. And as long as I can continue to empower people, even without the resources of state and without sitting in the National Assembly and without being a part of government, as long as I can continue to empower people, I think I'm serving a political purpose. Or better yet, I'm doing well as a social activist, a community activist, a human rights activist, and so on and so forth. So yes, I feel happy when I can confirm that, these things are happening. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to speak with one of the, what should I say, relative of or partner of one of the businesses that was at the expo, and asked them how things are since the expo. And I was told that they've been getting quite an order. Orders have gone up and so on and so forth. And, they're getting calls and they have to make deliveries and so on and so forth. which they weren't doing. Well, I wouldn't say they weren't doing. They perhaps weren't doing the quantity prior to that expo. So while a lot of people sat back and say, well, hey, a lot of people didn't turn out to the expo and so on. Like I said to the small business owners, it's called an expo and market day for a reason, because maybe nobody will come physically, but they will see what you have. And when they see what you have, when the need arises, they will remember to contact you. And so said, so done. So done. I'm happy that that business is doing more than it was doing before the expo. And I'm hoping that all the other small businesses are doing more than they were doing before the expo. And I'm going to say to you, like I said before, support the small businesses, support the community businesses. Because when we support them as micro enterprises and then medium, they eventually will get to large enterprises. They're going to get to big business. And even as they're going from micro to medium, right, or micro to small to medium, somewhere along the line, they will be providing employment for our young people or somebody. And that's a good thing, because if we can create employment in our communities for our people, then obviously we are empowering them and we're keeping them safe. And that is what I want us to do. I said, coming out of the expo, I can't remember if I said it there and then, that one of the things we have to do is, all those of us who have little businesses, some of us have shops in our yard, reach out to those people who are at the expo. For example, Rock On Spices, the lady who has the spices, contact her. Work out something with her so she can supply you with spices. It's just another brand of spices. And so you create a corner with her spices, so you introduce her spices to your customer. And you will determine whether or not they like it. You will be able to give her feedback. And so by that is a hand wash hand thing, collaboration, networking. We have to start to network and respect and understand the value of networking among ourselves. We have to seriously do that. Will you believe all of these popular spices and condiments and so on in the supermarkets? You think they just start and got big like that and got popular like that? They have to start somewhere, right? T-Bone. T-Bone was at our previous expo, and I learned that T-Bone started doing his stuff, I think, in plastic bags around, I can't remember if it's Bamba Mali or Jamaica and so on and so forth. And now T-Bone is well packaged, well marketed, and so on and so forth. He doesn't advertise on Camps TV, but I still will mention T-Bones because I'm happy to see where a family-oriented business is heading. Good. Golden Crisp. Golden Crisp started as the usual plantain chip in a plastic bag thing at a school. And now look at the packaging of Golden Crisp. And so again, I'm happy to see where a family-oriented business is heading. Good. Big up yourself, Camps TV. We've been promoting some of these businesses and they are seeing good. And I'm happy for that. Exotic Bites. Straight out of quarantine. Exotic Bites. That young lady, Miss Crandon, she exhibited what resilience is. On the first day of the Christmas market and expo, I mean, I wasn't monitoring people's sales and business and so on, but I left feeling that she didn't sell a dime. She didn't sell one single dollar, a dime. That is the impression I got. Not by asking her, but by, being in and out and observing and so on. I got the impression she didn't sell anything. And so I was kind of concerned. This girl traveled from Tillet quarantine and come to Buxton, and she didn't sell anything. Is it likely that she will come the next day? The next day promises to be a better day because we started on a Friday, and people like shop on Saturdays and so on. I hope she returns on a Saturday. And she did return on a Saturday. And again, from my observations, I think after I bought the first ice cream, The rest is history. I got the impression she left there happy, and she continues to reap the benefits of that expo. And so, if those of you who are on the live, if you need anything crab oil, vegan products, whether it's crab oil or juices or tea bags, the local herbs, tea bags, and so on and so forth, reach out to Exotic Bites. Good? Reach out to Exotic Bites and get your products. Right? Good. Of course, Rhonda's seasoning is always advertised on Cam's TV in the mornings. And so you know that too. But what is important is networking. That is what I want to drive home this morning, that we have to network. We have to hold each other's hand. We have to go each other. Because as things are, unless we do it for ourselves, it looks hopeless. And y'all don't tell me it's doom and gloom we're talking this morning. Unless we, as a people, brace each other, we're looking hopeless. Right? And as I'm talking about bracing each other, let us come together and brace Savitri Rose this morning. Condolences to you, Savitri, from the Camps family. We certainly will have you in our prayers. We certainly want to know that you're well. And as I usually say, don't be a stranger. You know my number. If you just want to listen ear, call me and let's talk. Because I know the loss of a partner, the loss of a family member, the loss of a friend, the loss of an acquaintance even, is a difficult and traumatic event. Good? And so, Savitri Rose, I always wonder, are you here or there? As I get the impression you're overseas based. If that is not so, or even if that is so, in any way we can participate, partake in the burial of your husband and so on, feel free to inform us, right? Whether you have a Zoom, whether you have live streaming, you know, and stuff like that. Because, of course, we have to support each other. Like I usually say, Cam's TV is no longer a Kidaki Amsterdam thing. Cam's TV is a whole family, is a whole nation. All those of you who are tuned in daily, I consider you family. Good? So let us join our hearts and hands together and, you know, lift up Savitri and our household and extended family and so on, and in this time of bereavement. Good? It's 7 hours 37. It's 23 minutes to the 8 o'clock hour. If you note, I had posted on the page, I think Friday or sometime over the weekend, Audriana Thomas inviting folks to join her in front of the appeal court and in front of the High Court in the course of this week. Right? In what I consider a silent protest to highlight or to call for the confirmation of the ladies. Okay, right. The confirmation of the ladies who are acting as Chief Justice and Chancellor of the Judiciary, right? Of Ghana. Because the reality is, it would appear, and these are my words, that in its quest to Indianize Guyana, the PPP is about to commit an injustice against these young ladies, right? And that is the Madam Justice Janet Cummings Edwards. She is the current Chancellor of the Judiciary, and she has been acting there since 2017. And this is a recipient of a national award. She has received the Cacique Crown of Honor and the Order of Roraima for her contributions to, I would say, jurisprudence and the, jurisprudence in the country. Let me say that. Good. She started as a state council in 1988. In 1988, she started as a state council. And by 2017, she was the appointed acting chancellor of the judiciary. I'm not going to go through all of our steps, if I can call it that, to get into that position. But what I can say is, as a recipient of 2 national awards, as a person who has served the country in the legal sector, for decades, she is eminently qualified to be confirmed as Chancellor of the Judiciary, right? And so when you're hearing, despite the fact that the opposition has committed its support to her being named, to her being confirmed as Chancellor of the Judiciary, when your government is hinting, is indicating that it is not likely to confirm her as Chancellor of the Judiciary, I think it's time to take pause. It's time to make demands. It's time to raise hell in defense of this patriot, someone who has remained there from 1988 to now, to serve her country, to help to develop the jurisprudence of our country, right? And she's female. And like we usually say, gone are the days when we could say that this what should I say, position is unsuitable for a woman and stuff like that. Our sisters have been breaking, quote unquote, the glass ceilings for quite a while. And it is time that, we insist that our sisters be given their just reward, their just due. The same goes for Madam Justice Roxanne George. Herself is the recipient of the Cacique Crown of Honor, right? And she has been acting in that position too. As I like to say, since Noah was a boy. And so the whole thing is, if our folks are good enough for acting, and acting Rhonda is saying that she's not hearing. Are you having sound? Is there anybody who has an issue with sound? Unless one is not talking to me. Y'all gotta be careful because sometimes, I get distracted by this thing. Good. Everybody's hearing me. Good. Yes, I'm saying we cannot as a society sit back and allow our government, your government, to continue to deprive people of their just reward and fair expectations. Let us not forget what happened to Genevieve Whitened as Chief Education Officer in the period of time that she was made to act. And that woman died without her appropriate honors. Good. So we have in studio with us Sister Georgiana Thomas, and she's going to, Georgiana, kindly unmute. She's going to share with us a rationale, if I can call it that.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Good morning. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Kadaki. How are you? And good morning to your viewers. How are you this morning?
I'm okay. I trust you were hearing my preamble.
Oh, yes, I was. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
And so you know where I stand, while you were on the program this morning. And so tell us a bit. I don't know how many persons know who Adriana Thomas is. I will say I know who Adriana Thomas is. I've been paying attention to Adriana Thomas for quite a while. Right? So by way of introduction, kindly share a little of yourself with us.
Okay, so like Akdaki said, I'm Adriana Thomas, and I have been involved in so many things in Guyana, and social justice, environmental justice, community development, governance, organizational development, organizational strengthening. But this matter that we're discussing this morning is particularly close to my heart. I started my first job when I came out of high school. I went to work at the Supreme Court to do my work study at the Supreme Court. And then my first job was as a legal clerk at the Supreme Court. And I work as the judge's registrar. I was the registrar to Justice Desiree Bernard when she was at the High Court for 3 years. And then I was the registrar to Justice Dagnandan, who was the chief magistrate at the time. I guess I'm giving away my age. I carry a good age, So I worked with Justice Dagnandan when he was the chief magistrate, and then he became a puisne judge. And then I used to work with the Chief Justice, Justice Orby Bishop sometimes. And then, so I was an assistant sworn clerk, acted as registry officer of the Supreme Court. And so I have that history, right? Worked with a number of the judges. I've worked also very closely with Justice Claudette Singh. So we come from way back then. And so I understand the judicial system. In addition to that, I went on to study. I have my master's degree in jurisprudence, rule of law for development. And so I'm a rule of law advisor by profession and a sustainable development, sustainable business practitioner. So this is, as a rule of law advisor, I did my master's thesis in maintaining development preparedness, maintaining the rule of law as Guyana emerges into an oil and gas economy and society. So one of the challenges that I have studied is that as Guyana evolves into an oil and gas society, then the judiciary may come under, there will be conflicts and tensions in the judiciary, and particularly as it relates to the independence of the judiciary. And so I've also studied what are some of the possible responses. If there are tensions and conflicts in the judiciary, what are some of the possible responses in terms of finding solutions? So one of the response is in terms of creating greater awareness and increasing the level of consciousness. So when we come to the peaceful, I would say, protest that we're having today in front of the Court of Appeal, and tomorrow in front of by the Supreme Court, it's really to ensure that as Guyana emerges into an oil and gas economy and society, that we have an independent judiciary. So that's in a big nutshell me and what I do.
Thank you. And so, what is this big fuss about these ladies being appointed as substantive chief justice and chancellor? Many will argue they're doing the work anyhow. They've been there for a while acting and so on and so forth. One person is asking, why Granger didn't appoint them? Why now? What is this big issue about having them appointed?
You see, we have to decide, Kadaki, if we want to, what kind of society do we want to develop? Do we want to develop a society that is based on principles, or a society that is based on inequalities and discrimination, and that is motivated by feelings and emotions? I rather suspect that we would like to develop a society that is based on principles. Principles are universal. And so, as it relates to the Chancellor and the Chief Justice, they've been acting in their various positions for 7 years. And so the President Irfan Ali, has not provided to the citizens of this country any, I would say, any acceptable reason as to why he cannot confirm, or he would not confirm, the acting Chancellor and Chief Justice. And so what we're saying, part of our challenge to the President is that the President must show cause. The President cannot just say to this nation that he is not confirming the acting Chancellor and the acting Chief Justice, and he's going to possibly select other nominees for that position, or other persons for those positions. So what we're saying, no, you have to give us a reason, right? The President has to say to the people of Guyana, why is it that the President is not confirming the Chancellor and the Chief Justice? And let me give you a background. Because I came out of the court system, I tend to know a bit about the careers of these of both the Chancellor and the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice, am I going on? Should I continue? Or?
Yes, you should continue.
Okay, so the Chief Justice, for example, Chief Justice, the Honorable Justice George, the acting Chief Justice, worked for a number of years in the Director of Public Prosecution's office. And I think she even rose to the helm of the organization as the Director of Public Prosecutions. And then she became a puisne judge at the High Court, High Court judge. And then she became now she's the acting Chief Justice. And I think she also serves on the Court of Appeal. The Chancellor of the Judiciary, the acting Chancellor, the Honorable Yonette Cummins Edwards, she worked for a number of years in the Attorney General Chambers. And then she became a High Court judge. And then she, I think she was Chief Justice, and then she went on to be the acting Chancellor of the Judiciary. So these women are eminently qualified. They're distinguished jurists. They came up in the profession. They're well trained. And so the President, when we had Justice Carl Singh, and I stand corrected, but Justice Carl Singh was the Commissioner of Title, right, years ago. And I stand corrected, like I said, if somebody comes and they say, well, and I don't think Justice Carl Singh was a High Court judge. So I think Justice Carl Singh was moved from the Land Court judge. Really, it's a Commissioner of Title. But we call it Land Court, the Land Court judge. We say the Land Court judge. So Justice Carl Singh moved from being a Land Court judge. He was not a High Court judge. And I think he moved all the way to being the acting Chief Justice. Then I think he went on to be a judge at the Court of Appeal. And then he went on to be the acting Chancellor. So if the government was willing to confirm Justice Carl Singh, even though Justice Carl Singh was a Commissioner of Title, then he became the Chief Justice. Then he became an appeal court judge, and then the acting Chief Justice. Justice Yonette Cummins and Justice Roxanne George came through the Attorney General Chambers. They were High Court judges. Then Justice Cummins Edwards was the acting Chief Justice. Then she went off to the Court of Appeal. So why is it that they cannot be confirmed when the government was willing to confirm Justice Carl Singh? In addition to that, what we're noticing here is a pattern, because is it that the government is saying that if judges do not rule in the favor of the government, they will not be promoted? We have the case of Justice Claudette Singh. Justice Claudette Singh adjudicated over that elections matter, and Justice Singh was never promoted as the Chancellor of the Judiciary. She was never given that position as Chancellor of the Judiciary, because but Justice Carl Singh, rather, even though Justice Carl Singh was a junior judge to Justice Claudette Singh, he was given the position as acting Chancellor of the Judiciary. Now again, we have some of the things that we're hearing. For example, people are saying that Justice Cummins Edwards, he ruled in this elections matter that I think 34, something about 34 and 33 and 65. In 2025, that is really irrelevant. We're the fastest growing economy in the world, and 33 and 35 and 34 and 65 is really irrelevant at this stage. So some people are saying that maybe that because she ruled in that matter, then that has impacted on her neutrality. So then Justice Claudette Singh, when she had ruled in that elections matter, then why wasn't she promoted to the position of Chancellor? So is it that Justice Kissoon, who ruled in this matter against the government will not be promoted? Is it that Justice Gino Prasad will not be promoted? And so we have to say to the president that that is not the society that we want. The judges are not there for the pleasure of the president. The judges are there to adjudicate over this nation and to ensure that we have fairness and justice. Their oath was to serve without fear or favor. So our protest is to say to the judges that you can adjudicate your matters without fear or favor, and we are going to, and the people of Guyana will ensure that you do not that you're not victimized by the state or by the powers of the executive for doing your job. I'll pause here.
Thank you. Should I say for your eloquence? Because I am sure we are much clearer on the reasons for the call for this protest. You know, listening to the president speak on this matter, I heard a comment to the extent we are going to appoint a Chancellor and Chief Justice who will be able to take us to a place that we're proud of. Such statements coming from a head of state is at least suggesting that the current Justice, Chief Justice acting and Chancellor acting are not capable of taking us to a place of, that we're proud of. Haven't they over the years executed their duties as they were expected to? And if that is the case, like you rightly said, we dare challenge Ali to provide the evidence, the reasons for not appointing these sisters. I know not many persons are comfortable with the positions I take, but listening to the grapevine, I'm hearing that the two persons who the current administration has in mind to appoint in the place of these two sisters are on the opposite ethnic side to what they are. They are Indo-Guyanese. And I am asking myself the question, is this the PPP's quest to, or continued quest to Indianize Guyana? Every agency, every entity of state must be headed and controlled by an Indo-Guyanese, especially an Indo-Guyanese who is expected to do the PPP's bidding. And what are the likely fallouts when you have a society that is so controlled, and the importance, because we know the judiciary is extremely important in the maintenance of law and order and defense of human rights and everything else.
what are the likely fallouts of the PPP just appointing people who are, like you said, there for the pleasure of the president?
I think that you've raised some very interesting points and factual points also. But I also like to make up one of the things I've heard is that the one of the reasons why the government is not comfortable with whether it be with the chancellor, right, is that many of the decisions from the Court of Appeal were overturned by the Caribbean Court of Justice. And one of the things I think we need to say to the president is that, and to the government, you have to be more scientific than that. Don't just tell us that many of the decisions from the Court of Appeal are overturned by the Caribbean Court of Justice. The men and women at the Caribbean Court of Justice are also similar to the men and women on the Court of Appeal also. So they can also make mistakes. The law is about interpretation. So if when the matter gets to the Caribbean Court of Justice, there's a different interpretation than the interpretation of the judges at the Court of Appeal, then we have an agreement that the Caribbean Court of Justice is our highest court. And so even if we do not agree with the decision sometimes, we accept it because we have an agreement that it is our highest court. But the government must not mistake acceptance for agreement. There is no way people can say to us that the judges of the Caribbean Court of Justice, the knowledge of the judges at the Caribbean Court of Justice is superior to the knowledge of the judges in our Court of Appeal as it relates to the Guyana Constitution. So there's no way you can say that our High Court judges and our Court of Appeal judges do not understand the Guyana Constitution. That is one of the fundamental documents for the judges to understand. They're there to ensure that the rights of the citizens in this country and the rights of within the context of the country are upheld. There may be different interpretations between the judges of the Caribbean Court of Justice and the judges of the Court of Appeal. So this argument that the Caribbean Court of Justice, the assumption that because the Caribbean Court of Justice may be overturning some of these matters, then the Court of Appeal is wrong and the Caribbean Court of Justice is right in all of these cases. Then I would say to the government and to the president, then let us be scientific about it. Let us examine the categories of matters which are going to the Caribbean Court of Justice and which are being overturned, and let us dissect them. Let us disaggregate them, and let us be scientific. But you can't come with a blanket statement and say to us that the Caribbean Court of Justice is overturning. A lot of the decisions from the Court of Appeal are being overturned at the Caribbean Court of Justice. And so that's one of the reasons why you're not happy with the performance of the chancellor. No, you have to be more scientific about that as it relates to that. The other aspect is that, coming back to what you have mentioned, in terms of we must be careful that we do not entirely make this about personalities. It's really a matter of principle. And the president cannot think that he can just sweep away two professional jurists. In this case, two professional female jurists. They can be swept away or swept out of their professions, and he can replace them like how you replaced, you decide that, okay, I want plantain chips instead of banana chips. This is it's not a dolly house that we're playing, it's a government that the president is running. This is the Chancellor of the Judiciary and the Chief Justice. And so it is a matter of principle. In addition to that, the Chancellor and the Chancellor and the Chief Justice, they have managed this judiciary. Let's go back to under the APNU and AFC government. After the no confidence motion, and there was this whole issue about the Constitution says that dual citizens should not be in government or sworn as ministers, something to that effect. At the time, Mr. Carl Greenidge was the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and Mr. Joseph Harmon was the Minister of State. They were dual citizens at the time. The same Chief Justice, Justice George, acting Chief Justice, she ruled that it was unconstitutional for them to hold the positions as ministers. This is the executive. The executive is powerful, and the executive, they could have decided that, look, the legislature, the judiciary cannot tell us what to do and disregard the decision of the Chief Justice. But no, the Foreign Minister, Carl Greenidge, resigned, and the Minister of State resigned. Those are very profound instances in our modern judiciary, if I can say that, where the judiciary stood up against the powerful executive. Another instance under the APNU and AFC government was when there was this, I don't know if you remember, there was a Trinidadian, part of the Trinidadian company, and the Minister of Finance, Winston Jordan, the court had ruled that the company must be paid. And there was Minister Jordan, there was a sort of back and forth between the court and the Ministry of Finance. And there was a full court. The judges decided that they were even going to sort of jail the Minister of Finance if he did not comply with the court decision. And then what say, well, I said save in quotation marks, Minister Jordan was President Granger, had to give him a respite, right? So that he did not go to jail. That was a very strong moment in Guyana's history where the judiciary stood up. And I'll give you one more example under the APNU and AFC government. When the Vice President, Barajagio, he was the leader of the opposition at the time, and there was this matter in Berbice before the magistrate, and he didn't turn up in court. The magistrate said that he must appear before. He was speeding up the East Coast to get to Berbice to appear in the court. Those were big moments, Kadaki, in our judiciary. And these matters, I rather suspect, if not all three of them, I know at least the two with the finance minister and the instance with the dual citizen, those matters were under the leadership of the same acting chancellor of the judiciary, Justice Janet Cummins, and the Chief Justice. So I just give you those.
And therefore would have exhibited your impartiality.
Exactly. So exactly. So how is it that the president can come to us in 2025 or 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24 and say to us that whatever the president is saying, that he probably doesn't have confidence in the neutrality of the the judiciary was willing to send Minister Jordan to jail if he didn't comply with the court. There was another instance with the former Attorney General Basil Williams in terms of a case before the then Chief Justice. So this president cannot, in good faith, our president, rather, with all due respect, President Irfan Ali cannot, in good faith, say to this country that the Honorable Chancellor the acting Chancellor of the Judiciary and the acting Chief Justice, that they have not shown their neutrality. You can't it is unfair to them and to cherry pick and say, okay, because the Chancellor ruled in this matter with the 433 matter, whatever, right? That she's not that you don't think that she's neutral. This is not a matter for the president's feelings and emotions. The president must be scientific about it. He must show us what is the criteria that is being used to evaluate the performance of the acting chancellor and the acting chief justice. Tick the boxes and let us see. And what is the criteria used for the selection for their replacement? What is the reason for not confirming them? What is the reason for replacing them? The president came to this country about 3 weeks ago and gave us all the wonderful reasons as to why he can confirm the police commissioner. And now so the president could have confirmed the police commissioner Clifton Hickins. Last week, I'm just saying that we have to be careful that we do not accept a society that is discriminatory to the point where if the judges are discriminated against, can you imagine what will happen to the ordinary citizen? Last week, the Minister of Agriculture came out and he said that they're going to have a shakeup in the Gaisuco management, but the chief executive will not have to leave the company. Now, under this chief executive, Gaisuco produced 34,000 tons of sugar. And the same president that is saying to us that he cannot confirm the acting chief justice and the acting chancellor, this same president is saying, okay, it's fine, leave the head of Gaisuco to produce 34,000 tons of sugar, that produce rather 34,000 tons of sugar. The same president is saying to us that despite the fact that the commissioner of police took $8.5 million from a businessman for Assistant Commissioner Brutus' wedding, that he is still fit and proper to be confirmed, right? We must say to the president that this is totally unacceptable. Set a date, confirm the acting chief justice and the acting chancellor, because after 5 years, you have not given us sufficient reason as to why they should not be confirmed.
Thank you again, Sister Adriana. And let me, for those of you who are not clear about that, John, in case it was in the matter of government of Guyana or DIPCON versus the government of Guyana, and there was a $2 million award. And whatever the reasons were being put forward, that money was not being paid, and the court basically had given Mr. Jordan an ultimatum to pay it or face jail time, right? There were appeals to the court to set aside the order and so forth, and so on and so forth. The rest is history. You can go and read it. It's definitely on Starbuck News. I can tell you that. If you want me to give you the Starbuck News link, I can do that for you. And when Mr. Jordan comes on Thursday, I'm sure he's going to get the opportunity to clarify, if he so chooses, that issue. But that's not the issue at hand right now. Adriano is using those examples to show, in my mind, the impartiality of or the leadership of the acting Chief Justice and acting Chancellor of the Judiciary. You know, sometimes they say what a tangle where we weave when we first try to deceive. Because one of the things, and this is here say, let me see, it is whispered that the government is prepared to give their blessings to these very two senior judicial officers for, I would say, higher appointments in the Caribbean, right? As a quid pro quo, perhaps, to get them out of the way. Listen, we are going to support your application to the CCJ. Listen, we're going to make you a diplomat, and so on and so forth. Just not to appoint you. Are you aware of these offerings? And
Yes.
do you believe that? Go right ahead.
I'm aware of much of that, what you're saying. But the other thing I'd like to say is that we have seen between 2020, the president, the government and the president, they orchestrated the removal or the movement rather, don't let me say removal, the movement of the then acting chief of staff, Bess. The acting chief of staff at that time, he was not confirmed. The government offered him, I think he left and he was offered some position somewhere, and another chief of staff, this new chief of staff, Mr. Khan, was appointed as the chief of staff. Mind you, I find Mr. Khan to be a likable person, right? I think he's a pleasant surprise. And so I have no issue with him as a person, but here we're dealing with the principle. And then the government then went and the president pushed through, despite the opposition leader said that he didn't approve the confirmation of the Commission of Police, even though it is unconstitutional too, because the Commission of Police has attained the age of 55 and the president is still confirming him, has still confirmed him. So the president pushed through with that. And then now there was this seeming orchestration to remove 2 senior persons from the judiciary to put to replace them apparently with the persons who the government prefers. And I think that is that we must say to the government that is unacceptable. The government may still go ahead, just like they did with the Higgins matter, and appoint whomever they chooses to appoint to the position, or to the positions. But it must not be without protest. We must say to the government that this is not the society that we would like to have. We would like to have an independent judiciary. We would like to know that if there's a homeless person sleeping on the street and a minister vehicle should run them over, that the judiciary will not say that, oh, this is a homeless person and it's a minister. No, we would like to know that that homeless person will be treated as a human being, and that the judiciary will the judiciary will operate in a fair way, and that the homeless person will have the same access to justice as the minister or the owner of the vehicle, if it's a minister, will have. So this is really a point of principle here. And Kadaki, I'd like to say this to you. This is not only about this government. Let's assume that Mr. Nigel Hughes becomes president tomorrow, Mr. Aubrey Norton becomes president tomorrow. And Mr. Nigel Hughes has been working in the courts for a number of years. I'm sure that he's not happy with all of the decisions which were being made by the judges over the years. What we want to ensure is that should Mr. Nigel Hughes become president tomorrow, right, that he does not, as president, decides who he will promote because he didn't like this judge or he didn't like that judge. So this is not only about President Ali and this current government. If Mr. Aubrey Norton becomes president tomorrow, Mr. Norton has had his own encounters with the judiciary and the magistracy. We would like to ensure that Mr. Norton does not tomorrow decide that, oh, I'm president now, I'm not going to promote this magistrate and I'm not going to promote that judge. So it's really, I would like to emphasize that this is really about on a point of principle, and it is beyond the this current government and the current president. It is the kind of society that we would like to have. And so we must say to President Ali that he must set a date to confirm the current acting chancellor of the judiciary and the acting chief justice. If it is that President Ali would like to appoint other persons to these positions, he must come to us and say he offered to confirm these 2 persons and they refuse the positions because they have other aspirations. But it must, in addition to that, if he does not, he must also say to us, if he decides that he's not going to confirm them, why it is, what are the reasons, right? What criteria did he use to evaluate their performance? So I would just like to, Kadaki say that in response to what you're saying. We have to develop a society on a point of principle. And the judges are not political positions. They are professional positions, they're technical positions, and we must not let the president, any government, treat the positions of judges, of chancellor and chief justice, as if they're political positions.
Tell me, do you think that the method, I know currently those appointments can be made or are supposed to be made with the president consulting with the leader of the opposition, and they're having agreement. I know that was the same for the commissioner of police, but obviously many of us don't think that consultation took place or that agreement took place. Do you believe that the time has come to change the method for appointing judicial officers in this instance?
You know, I think so, yes. I remember speaking with a colleague, I think it was from Zimbabwe, when they were, she was a human rights commissioner, and she was sharing the process that she went through to be appointed as a human rights commissioner in Zimbabwe. And I think it was a process of, I can't remember if it was the parliament that made or if it was a tribunal, but it was some body as against just the one person making the decision or making the final decision. In addition, or political appointees, because the Constitution says that the opposition leader must also must be consulted, and in terms of the appointments for these positions. So I do, yes, I think that we have to evolve. And also, if we're looking at institutional strengthening our institutions, then a more fair and just approach to the appointment of chancellor and the chief justice to these positions should perhaps be via a tribunal, maybe by having a certain percentage of the parliament making the appointments, but not necessarily quote unquote at the pleasure of the president.
Thank you. Just a quick bit of information. In the United States of America, it is the president who nominates, and the Senate has to do the confirmation, and that's through a simple majority vote. So maybe we can use our National Assembly as that that buffer, if I can call it that. All right. So,
do you see the rigorous process for confirmation, for confirming those positions at the level of the Senate, even though the president would make a nomination?
Certainly. And so we come to the, as I say, silent protest in front of the High Court and the Appeal Court. Share with our viewers when, time, what is expected of them, and so that they can be so informed, and we'll encourage others to partake.
Okay, so today we're meeting outside of on the parapet, outside of the Court of Appeal. This is in High Street, Kingston, and we're encouraging you to walk with your placards, and walk with your placards, and we're going to do a silent protest from 10 this morning to 1 p.m. this afternoon, and then tomorrow we will be outside of the High Court on Charlotte Street between Avenue of the Republic and King Street, and right outside there by the Chief Justice Chambers on the pavement there. And we will have our silent protest advocacy out there. Walk with your placards again. So today we are meeting outside of the Court of Appeal at 10, and then tomorrow we are meeting outside of the High Court at 10. All right. And Kudaki, I'd also like to add that very often, people think that, this is about politics and so on, but this is not about politics. This is about the independence of the judiciary is very important. The judges cannot come out there and advocate for themselves. Judges have rights too. And so, but they cannot come out and advocate if the president decides that he doesn't want to confirm the chancellor and confirm the chief justice. They may have other ways of protest. So this is where, but as a society, I think we must send a strong message to the government, to any government, that we want an independent judiciary. And we must send a message to the judges to know that you took an oath that you will adjudicate our matters without fear or favor. And we would like you to know that we will fight for you. We will support you. And you can go ahead and make your decisions without fear or favor. So I think it's also to let the judges know that they don't have to think that they may not be promoted, or they don't have to think that if they make decisions against the government, they may be victimized. As a society, we must say, no, we're going to be the shield between you and the government, because we would like to have a just society. And we wouldn't have a just society if we sit down and after the fact, then we complain that, oh, the judges are only making decisions in favor of the government. We have an opportunity now to advocate, to let President Ali know that we're not happy with the decision that you're making to not confirm the Chancellor and the Chief Justice. And this thing about 33 and 34 is frivolous. This is not a dolly house. This is a country, the fastest growing economy in the world. And so we would like for the president to treat these positions with that level of seriousness. And we would also like to it's also about raising the level of consciousness among the people of the country, because very often, and quickly, Kadaki, if I have some time to speak about, people are afraid to come out and protest. And I'd just like to, if I have any time to
Yes, you have time.
Okay, so one of the things that has happened to our society, there's an apathy. Apathy, there's people have become either indifferent. There's an apathy in the society. There's people have become sort of non-responsive to certain things, or seemingly non-responsive. Let's put it that way. But there's a saying that evil thrive where good men do nothing. And so governments are very powerful. The governments, and once the government understands that, okay, they can do whatever they want, and the society will not react, the society will accept it, then we're going to have a society where our humanity and our human dignity would be trampled upon. And so what we would like to have is a society where, and so I'm encouraging persons to come out maybe during your lunch break. You can come out during your lunch break between 12 and 1 and just stand with us outside of the Court of Appeal today. Stand with us tomorrow outside of the High Court. And this is a democracy, and we are members in this democracy. And as members in the democracy, we have roles and responsibilities. And part of our roles and responsibilities are to, one, if we do not agree with decisions from the government, decisions from the opposition, decisions from the court, decisions from the institutions, we have a right to protest those decisions. We have a right to come out and protest peacefully those decisions. So people are afraid of losing their jobs. I usually say to people that all those people who are protesting in other countries, right? Many of them work with the public sector also. And they're not fired because they come out, and some of them, many of them in many countries, they're not fired because they come out and protest. That is our constitutional right. And so that is our right. And so we must not give up that right to challenge and to work towards having a more just, a more equitable, a fairer society, and a more stable society. The other point I'd like to make quickly is that under the leadership of the acting Chancellor and Chief Justice, despite all of the challenges in Guyana, we still have a relatively stable society, and the executive and the legislature cannot only take the credit for that. That is as a result of how the judiciary is being managed. And so even if the president comes to us and says that that he's not satisfied with the acting chancellor and the acting chief justice, we can say to him that look at the society that we have. Despite the challenges, it's relatively stable, and credit must be given to the leadership of the judiciary. So I would like to encourage our Guyanese brothers and sisters. Kadaki, I know that you're always on the front line, and I'd like to say thanks to you and people like Dr. David Hines. You know, you're always on the front line. Mark Benchcup. I mean, this is because social media has also become a forum for protest too. And so a lot of the protests, as a matter of fact, we may not see the physical protests in the street. And part of that is because with social media, some of the protests, much of the protests happens on social media. So I'd like to say thanks to you, Rickford Burke, Melly Mel, right? You advocate and for a better Guyana. And I'd like to say that we appreciate that. But I'd like to encourage persons, if you can, come out today and let us support the confirmation of the acting Chancellor of the Judiciary and the acting Chief Justice, and make our voices heard by putting boots on the ground.
Time and place once more before you leave.
Pardon, sorry?
Time and place once more before you leave.
Okay, so we're meeting at 10 o'clock outside of the Court of Appeal this morning, and walk with your placards. And then we will be there from about 10 to 1 o'clock. So if you can come out during your lunch break, between 12 and 1, do come out and let the Chancellor know that we are supporting for confirmation.
Good morning, morning. Good morning. Morning, are you morning? Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. I am your host, Kidaki Amsterdam. It is now 28 minutes to the 8 o'clock hour on the 7th day of January in the year 2024. How you been? How was it yesterday? Was it last night? What were you able to achieve yesterday that gave you hope that today will be a better day? Talk to me. I want to know. Do you feel enthusiastic about the prospects of this country? Do you feel enthusiastic that while we are mere months away from an election, a national election, regional and general elections, that we are as prepared as we can be and ought to be, that the opposition is doing enough and has done enough to make its case to the voters? Do you believe as a citizen you have done enough to start and engage in the kind of conversations that are necessary leading up to an election and a vote that is considered a sensible vote, and a vote that has the likelihood of giving you the political outcomes that you need? Talk to me, I want to know. It's 26 minutes to the 8 o'clock hour. How have you been? Y'all talk to me, I want to know what's happening. I see a lot of persons have reacted to videos of the silent protest yesterday. And a lot of people are saying they're surprised that the attendance was so poor. They expected more people. They wanted to see more people, and so on and so forth. But I want to ask the rhetorical question. How is it that more people will get to the protest? Or how is it you're going to see more people at the protest? The organizers don't manufacture people. The organizers don't have chains and shackles on people and they can whip them to go and join the protest. The organizers have made an appeal for people to go and join the protest, even during their lunch hours. And so if they are small numbers at these events, which are supposed to be pro-democracy events, then you don't blame the organizers. I dare say you blame the people. And then again, the question is whether or not you blame the people. Because the question is whether or not the people have an interest in the issues that are being raised. Are the people aware enough to understand the importance of an impartial judiciary? Are the people aware enough to understand that the removal of Janet Cummings Edwards justices, Janet Cummings Edwards and Roxanne George Wiltshire, I think her name is, and replacing them with pro-PPP justices? Do people understand the implications of such an action? I think not so long ago, a bill was passed to increase the number of judges on the appeal court. I think it is. Increase the number of judges, high court judges, appeal court judges. Don't blame me, I didn't do the research. But I'm remembering that such a bill was passed or taken to the National Assembly. At that time, I did opine that the PPP was making efforts to stack. Bill passed to increase complement of appellate judges. Bill to increase number of Court of Appeal judges passed. Acting High Court judges confirmed. Bill table to increase the number of appeal court judges. Right. And the bill was passed according to the Kaicho News. It was April 26, 2023. Kaicho News reported on this. For those of you who don't know and who didn't follow the matter, let me read quickly for you this item here. Bill passed to increase complement of appellate judges. The long overdue Court of Appeal Amendment Bill of 2022 was on Monday passed in the National Assembly to improve the efficiency of court proceedings, as well as increase the complement of judges in the Court of Appeal. This comes in response to the mammoth caseload on the Court of Appeal docket and the small complement of judges to dispose of matters in a timely manner. Currently, only 3 permanent appellate judges sit on the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal Amendment Bill of 2022 amends Section 34(1) of the Court of Appeal Act, capital 3:01, which presently provides that the judges of the Court of Appeal shall include no more than 5 justices of appeal. It is aimed at increasing the number of appellate court judges to at least 5 and no more than 9. Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, Moabir Anil Nandlal, Senior Counsel, said the increase in the complement of judges is long overdue amid a tremendous increase in litigation. Quote, in my view, the propensity to litigate in Guyana has grown progressively over the years. It is therefore both unreasonable and impossible to expect the same number of judges to cope efficiently in the face of such an increase in workload. Quote, our government has been a willing and reliable partner in supporting the judiciary in every initiative designed to improve the justice system and bring to its processes greater dispatch, end quote. Let me just stick with it there. Let me just stick with it there. Good. So that story dated April 26, 2023, indicated that the PPP are taking steps to increase the number of appellate court judges. I said it then, and I'm going to repeat it, that yes, the workload was heavy or is heavy. But I also said the PPP will now take the opportunity, having passed that bill, to start the judiciary with judges favorable to them. Judges favorable to them. I mean, it's natural every government will try to do the things that will be in their best interest. You can't run from that. Can't run from that fact. Right? Can't run from that fact. And so, by no means should you be surprised when you understand, or when it's pointed out to you and you can verify, that the efforts of the PPP in terms of these meanderings with the judiciary is to ensure that they have a judiciary that is quote unquote pliable to them, a judiciary that will perhaps cater to their needs. Because no doubt, there's lots and lots and lots and lots of litigation that will take place in this country for very many reasons. After the passage of that law, 10 High Court judges were appointed, right? Or 10 new judges were appointed. I'll throw them up on the screen for you to look at them. We have Nicole Peer, Hassan Yassin, Joy Prasad Singh, Deborah Kumar Chetty, Zamina Ali C. Paul, Jacqueline Josiah Graham, Shirley Isaacs Marcus, Nigel Niles. You seeing them there? Priscilla Chandra Hanif, and Peter Yu. Good. Those are the 10 judges that were appointed most recently under the PPP. That was June of last year. Those 10 judges were appointed. I can't speak in any way to the character of the judges. I can't speak in any way to their allegiances. So I will leave that up to you to be the judge. But what I do know is that the PPP doesn't do anything or give anybody quote unquote power when they can't, for the greater part, exert control over them. Good. So I invite you to do your investigations, do your research, and see what you can find out about the impartiality or lack thereof of the person, the 10 justices appointed in June of last year. You see, in my mind, nothing is, where the PPP is concerned, at least in this whole judiciary issue. These things are not separate and apart. They are part of a program. They are part of a program. First, let's increase the number of judges because the current status, based on what we've seen over the years or over the months suggests that we are not going to be able to have our way with that quote unquote small complement. And so let us increase the number, because if we increase the number, it means we will get to appoint new ones. And in getting to appoint new ones, it's quite possible that we will get the opportunity to appoint those who are quote unquote favorable to us. And so having passed that bill to the increase, then the appointments came, 10 judges. And with 10 judges now comes the pressure from society for the confirmation or the appointment of substantive chancellor and chief justice. And so since the societal pressure is rising for us to appoint in a substantive way a chancellor and a chief justice, we have to make that decision. And again, looking at history or this historical perspective, taking the historical perspective, it would appear as though we can't have our way necessarily with this current chief justice and chancellor. And so we are not going to appoint them, because then we'll be shooting ourselves in the foot perhaps. And so we don't want to appoint them. As somebody say, the chief justice, and this is people's opinion, the chief justice might be acceptable to the PPP, but not necessarily the chancellor. But one might argue that the two of them come like Bati and Po or a package, because they both have been acting for that extended period of time, and it would definitely be unfair to appoint one and not the other. And so if you can't appoint both, as my grandmother perhaps used to say, if you can't feed everybody, feed nobody. If you can't appoint both, then appoint none, because if you appoint one, then you will hear the hue and cry from society that you're biased and so on and so forth. You appointed this particular person because from the looks of things, they cater to your needs. But you refuse to appoint the other because you've not been able to have your way with that. Right? So let's not appoint them. Let us look for people who we know, we are definitely sure about, who will cater to our needs. And like I said yesterday, I am not at liberty. Not that I'm not at liberty. I have the freedom to, I guess. But I don't think I have the energy right now to deal with the complications that may result from me calling names. Right? But I know one of the names suggested to replace either of these ladies is, in my mind, one of the most racist on the judiciary. One of the most racist on the judiciary. I can tell you that. That's my opinion. I'm entitled to it. Some people say, call name, I'm going to whistle. Right? But even this morning, I'm not in a whistling mood. I'm not likely to whistle. But you have to look for yourselves. You have to look for yourselves and examine, look at the rulings in this society at the level of justices, and see who are the people that seem to hand down the harshest sentences when it comes to a particular ethnic group being the quote-unquote perpetrators of crime versus another ethnic group. Just do the analysis. I think it is right out there. The information is right in front of all of our eyes. And so when my friends like Rhonda and so on cussing out and saying, do appoint Roxanne George and Janet Cummins, because Roxanne George, for example, according to the allegations, has always given the PPP the way and let you face the consequences. I ask you to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. What does it mean when, as an alternative, two quote unquote Indian rights nationalists, Indian supremacists. I don't know how to describe them. Take the place of the current chancellor and the chief justice acting. What does it mean for non-Indians in this society? What does it mean for people who are not supportive of the PPP in this society? Can you imagine what it means? Don't tell me about the independence of the judiciary. I don't think, I don't think really and truly we have many justices in this society who can really stand on a pedestal of independence. Because what the PPP has done for the greater part is put public servants in general in a tenuous position. They put them in acting positions, they keep them in acting positions, and they dangle that over their head in that if you don't do our bidding, you will never be confirmed. And every human being, let's go check Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Every human being wants to get to that point of self-actualization. Every human being wants to achieve the highest possible height that they can in their career. And so when you hold that guillotine over the head, that guillotine of acting, and if you don't do my bidding, then you ain't getting no place. Impartiality goes out the door in many instances. And that is another danger in the society. Allowing the government to keep senior functionaries in the public service, in the judiciary, in the service commissions, etc., keep senior functionaries as actors. Because their confirmation is determined on whether or not the government is satisfied, pleased with how they cater to them. And so at the end of the day, many of their decisions will be questioned or will be viewed in a questionable manner because we will be thinking they only took the side of the government because they're acting and they want the government to be favorable to them. Is that the kind of society that we want to live in? Where justice, as they say, justice should not only be done, but it must be seen as being done. Do we want a society where the rulings of our courts can be questioned, constantly questioned by the layman because we believe that the government holds sway over the judicial office who was made that way? So this protest, this demand, this call, this fight is not about individualism. For me, it's a fight for national good. You want a situation where your judiciary can be considered truly independent. Yesterday, I suggested that the time has come for the formula for appointing justices and the chancellor and chief justice in particular to change. No meeting between president and opposition leader. Take it to the National Assembly. Yesterday, some goon, clown, whatever you want to call that individual, called to tell me it wouldn't work. And I asked why it wouldn't work and what suggestions they had. Of course, they told me, well, I can't remember. Basically, I must be living in denial or something. But the reality is, as a society, we have to be willing to engage each other and engage our thought processes to come up with solutions to these problems. The current situation in the National Assembly is basically almost anything can be passed with a simple majority. But a matter of appointing the Chief Justice and the Chancellor, should we allow it to a simple majority? So if the PPP has the simple majority, they just vote who they want. And if the PNC or opposition coalition, whatever, has a simple majority, they vote for whoever they want. Isn't there a better possibility? Yes, there certainly is. Because in some instances, the Constitution calls for a 2/3 majority of the House. And since the Chancellor and the Chief Justice are two important judicial officers, maybe we should turn to an amendment in the National Assembly that says, listen, the appointment of these officers must come before the National Assembly, and there must be a 2/3 majority in order to appoint either of the two. Isn't that a solution? The amendment of the Constitution in any which way should, quite frankly, because we live in a polarized society, and no government should by itself, no single party government should by itself have that authority, that free for all, to just wake up one morning, go into the National Assembly and say, we're going to change the law. We're going to change the land ownership law. We're going to change the way people claim ancestral property. We are going, no, because these are actions that affect the national psyche. And so let us remove from the simple majority one vote more than the other side, and you could have turned the whole apple cart in this country. One vote from the other side, and the properties of African Guyanese can come under threat of government taking it away. And so you have a whole section of your society living in anxiety all the time, because here they just pass a bill that allows one man in the government to determine what my property is valued and take it away. Under the claim of eminent domain, because government wants to develop this or government wants to develop that. How is it? Where are the democratic practices whereas in this society, one minister or the cabinet even can determine that a secondary school, a primary school, an educational institution, facility that was serving the public or serves the public good can be sold off. Without the blessing of the National Assembly. In a polarized society, why doesn't our Constitution offer protection against these I don't know, excesses of government, because that is what I see them as. Yes, Mr. Jordan, I understand the appointment of CJ and Chancellor is made after agreement of the President and Leader of the Opposition. But I'm asking if that is enough. Is it enough for two men or two human beings to sit, have a talk, agree, and appoint people who are going to affect the lives of the citizens of this country? Why not the entire 65 members of the National Assembly? Those are all the people's representatives. Why not all of the people's representatives to make that decision? Why not? And so the question was asked yesterday on yesterday's program, why didn't the Granger administration appoint these people substantively? Because of just that, as far as I remember. Because of just that. the then opposition, the then leader of the opposition, did not agree with the then president for the appointment. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. So all the then president had was to appoint them acting, make them acting, because he didn't get the concurrence, the agreement of the opposition leader at the time. But in this instance, the leader of the opposition has made it clear, he has made a public announcement that he supports the appointment of the current acting Chief Justice and Chancellor. But the president now doesn't support their appointment, apparently. So isn't this what we, I was about to call it what I will call it anyhow. This is bullshit. So if the opposition leader can't agree with the president and the president can't agree with the opposition leader, the country doesn't get substantive chancellor and chief justice. And that is why these people have been acting for forever. Let's flip the switch, like I said. Take it to the National Assembly and call for 2/3 vote. What is the likelihood that we will not get substantive chancellor and chief justice? For a country that is existence in modernity, in a modern era, I find a lot of our provisions backward and permitting backwardness. Right? Backwardness. One man could swipe a pen and upset the whole country. But with this consultation, leader of the opposition and president, people are emphasizing there must be agreement. The appointment of a king's court for agreement. Would the likely disagreement of the leader of the opposition to whoever the PPP wants to appoint chancellor and chief justice outside of these two women stop them from being appointed? Even if the PPP has to appoint them as acting, they will appoint them as acting, because the Constitution never says that, my interpretation is that it didn't say that you must have agreement to appoint them as acting. So what happens? We push these two sisters away, these two female jurists away, and we choose two Indian rights nationalists, as I want to call them, and we say you're going to act. Because even if you're all acting, you're going to do our bidding. Where's the justice in that for the society? Y'all talk to me. But they say evil thrives when good men do nothing. Where are the good men in this society? Where are the good men in this society? Where is civil society? Where is the once buoyant guardians of democracy? Where are they? Huh? Where are the so-called guardians of democracy? You're not hearing their voices. Where are the champions of democracy? Where's the Ghana Bar Association? I mean, the jurists and so on, they can't protest in their name. They can't come out and speak against the government's behavior and so on. But doesn't the Bar Association have a responsibility to make pronouncements on these kind of things? Oh, I forget. Maybe the Bar Association is controlled, dominated, that is, by friends and cronies of the PPP. Y'all think there's the reason? What does the Guyana Bar Association look like? Huh? What does the Guyana Bar Association look like? Hola, doy. Hola, doy. Yeah, look at, listen. I wouldn't, yeah, go check it yourself. Go check it yourself. Good. That's all I want to say. Go check it yourself. Board representatives Jamila Ali, Kamal Ramkaran, Kenny Hoosty, Kioma Griffith, Everton Singh Lamy, K.A. Jaman Yassin, Kamal Ramkaran, Onassis Granville, Nigel Niles, Ramona Rukum, and Robin Stobie. That's these are board representatives. Good. Have you heard any of them? What are representing? I gotta ask. There's a question. Rules Committee, Council of Legal Education, Legal Aid Clinic, Juvenile Justice, Law Reform, National Task Force for Prevention of Sexual Violence, Constitutional Reform, Save Committee for Forced Legal Conference. Listen, the question is, have you heard any of these people make any pronouncement on the injustices that are being meted out to these female jurists and the injustices that are being meted out to the Guyanese people? Huh? I want to know. When I come here in the morning, I don't think I got all the answers, you know. I come seeking answers like most of them. But I have the gall, the gumption, the temerity to ask the questions. What some people might consider hard questions. I'm not afraid. Because we're going to family yam one time. Y'all are going to court in 2 days' time. Yeah, I got a matter in 2 days' time. I am going to court in 2 days' time. But y'all think you can stop me from questioning the independence of the judiciary, questioning the freedom of the judiciary to do the work? Lady Justice is supposed to be blind. Can you consider Lady Justice blind? Well, as an accused, the complainant turns up. And see, for example, the jurors that has to preside over the particular complaint having a half-hour chat with the complainant. Where is there any comfort in that? Do you believe that a jurist can be unbiased in a situation like that? Familial relationship, if I can call it that, with a compliment, and you having a good long open gap, if I can call it that, in the eyes of the public and everybody for half hour, and then you have to go and preside over that particular matter. But and you went to the Bars Association and complain about that. Let me tell you something. There are a lot of spinelessness in this society. A whole lot of spinelessness. You have lawyers who will tell you that they will not file a complaint against a judge, even if the client demands. because they're afraid that the next time they have to appear before that judge or magistrate, or even a public official, a permanent secretary, a head teacher says, they're afraid of the consequences they will have to face, namely victimization. How then do you get a society that thrives on law and order? If the people who are supposed to stand in defense of law and order are afraid to challenge the status quo to ensure law and order is the order of the day, how do you get a society that is law abiding? It's like everybody out there just hustling. Listen, I just want to make my money, and I want to make my money with the least possible stress. And so anything that's going to stress me out, I will try to avoid while making my money. I'm not challenging the impartiality of any jurist, any judicial officer, any senior public servant, because I know at some point in time I gotta go before them again. And they might be wicked and vindictive to me. As a matter of fact, it was said that Basil Williams has suffered a lot of indignity before a particular senior jurist because he dared to be brazen at an earlier time to that particular person. And so every time he went there, they ruled against him. If there's any truth in that, should people have a recourse? Shouldn't they be able to turn to a Judicial Service Commission that is impartial, and will take the necessary actions? But people are afraid to go to the lengths because what? They know even the Judicial Service Commission and this Police Service Commission and this commission and that commission, they're just there on paper. Like the Natural Resource Management Committee, Resource Investment Committee, whatever they call it, that Terence Campbell is or was a member on. And these things are not fictitious, because if you see what they're doing with Terence Campbell, and because he dared to speak out against the way the committee functions as a rubber stamp for the government, they're going at him tooth and nail. That is what people are afraid of. But this is allowed to happen because citizens are not coming out in defense of those who are coming out in defense of them. How many members of civil society have stood in defense of Terence Campbell? How many? The guardians of democracy, you hear them say anything? The Georgetown Chamber of Commerce, Bobby's Chamber of Commerce, the Latham Chamber of Commerce, all them chambers of commerce, they're the big business people. You hear them say anything? No. They don't come out and say nothing, because why? They're afraid that if they come out and say anything, the government can start giving them all the concessions that make them richer by the day. The members. Is it good enough to just rely on the next election? Oh, election coming, we're going to get the opportunity to vote them out. Vote who out? Vote. If you're not even fighting, in large numbers to ensure that you get a free, fair, and credible elections, you get clean voters listened by metrics and so on to prevent the electoral fraud and so. Or you're going to vote them out. Do you know, even as we speak, there are lots of skullduggery, jiggery pokery Bangarang and Poto taking place. Do you know GCOM has a claims and objection period running right now? And registration and so on? Do you know that GCOM registration officials, instead of following the rules and ensuring that people are registered in the districts where they belong, are allowing people to register outside of their districts and are making up addresses to them? Do you know that? Well, I'm telling you, it's happening. It's happening. But are you standing and saying, well, hey, this nonsense can't happen? If somebody got registered in Buxton, they got registered in Buxton, how you going to make up a Jarchong address and give them for registering Jarchong? That alone is fraud. And so if you start from a basis of fraud, then we ending up with a fraudulent election. People believe that elections are stolen on elections day. They're stolen long before. And the PPP is well advanced in stealing elections. And so unless people are prepared to go out there and do as is necessary, don't tell me about no free, fair, and public election in this country. Don't tell me that by the mere vote, you're going to get rid of the PPP. You got to do more than that. First and foremost, opposition supporters got to turn out in the numbers 90%, 95%, 99% supporting the coalition, the opposition. Secondly, there needs to be serious vigilance at the polling stations and serious vigilance leading up to the election. But y'all think it's good enough just to sit down and say, elections coming, you're going to vote against them. If I believe that alone could remove the PPP from government, I was going to be doing something that will earn me some money outside in the yard today. I would have already started cooking in the kitchen to sell some lunch today. But I recognize cooking in the kitchen and selling lunch alone can't change Ghana, and I want a different Ghana. I recognize voting alone can't change Ghana, and I want a different Ghana. That is why I invest the time here daily to highlight the issues and to encourage you to interrogate them and to get involved in fighting for change. Adriana Thomas is going to be out here today again. This time in front of the High Court, between that Charlotte, between King and Avenue of the Republic. Come now. Lunchtime. Lunchtime belongs to you, you know. Take 15 minutes from your lunchtime and just go and stand up as a passerby or something. A bystander. Just go stand up. You're afraid that they're going to get photographed with you with a poster, which is your right to do. Just go and stand up. Mill around. They can't tell you that you ain't got the right to walk the streets of Georgetown. But so many of us have given up our freedom. We've given the PPP so much authority over our lives. That imagine being afraid to go and join a protest during lunchtime. Huh? We're afraid to join a protest on the weekend when we're working for the government. All we want is changes that we want, man. Huh? 90 minutes past 8 o'clock already. Lines are open. Call and let's talk the thing. I want to hear your ideas. Because I don't have the answers to all of these questions which I'm asking this morning. Y'all share with me. I got a voice note. Let me see what the one's saying. So somebody has sent me a message to say that The Minister of Agriculture allegedly has fired somebody from the ministry because he accuses that person of leaking information to Melly Mel to expose this corruption. You know what I'm saying? This is the kind of dictatorship. This is the kind of dictatorship that we allow. There is supposed to be a Whistleblower Protection Act in this country, you know. Is any lawyer going to take the case of that young man and fight the government, fight Zulfikar, because it is his right, assuming he did, to blow the whistle on a corrupt criminal in the seat of government? I guess not. Call it life.
Yes, good morning to you and all my Black brothers and sisters in Guyana. Apology, I will be late, as usual. I have a little piece of song, if I may say it, a little piece, because that is what would base off my message this morning towards my Black brother and sister, if I may. And the song goes like this. Come home. Come home, ye who are weary, come home. Jesus is calling, calling for sinners, come home. My Black brothers and sisters, this morning, Flash God, we want you guys to know, God is saying to Black people, come on back to your two-party, PNC and WPA. Come on back. It's a reason why, physically and spiritually, it's a reason why God leave that problem with us, that voice with us, the story with the prodigal son. If God didn't want us to know that problem, he would have removed it, or he would have never mentioned it. Remember the prodigal son, that who said, Father, I cannot wait anymore until you die. Give me what belongs to me. Let me go. And the father listened to his son. The boy wasn't bad or criminal. He never put gun to his father. He never beat his father or nothing. But the other brother was covetous like Jack Joe and the wicked. What he supported them. Greedy, long-hearted, evil. And the boy went away and wasted on yes. But when he acknowledged what he did, my God, why hast thou forsaken us out? But nevertheless, Black people will get victory to the end. When the brother realized what he did was wrong, he said, wait, servant in my father's house eating bread and I outside the air, eating quick food? No, I will arise. And returned back home and said, Father, I have sinned before thee and thou. The father tell the same wicked brother, like John, you're them wicked police supporters them. Go, let keep a feast. Let everybody eat and drink. John, you're the one alone want to eat and drink. And the little brother get mad. Daddy, you doing all these things for him? The father said, you dead. If I dead, you get everything. God wants Black people to come together and stop all your nonsense. Oh, stop sitting down and waiting for what? It's the reason why God wants we to read King James' voice and know that one of our five senses is our hands, that what will take us out of poverty and punishment. Hello?
We're here.
We got to use our hands, use all of our five senses. Remember what little David do for stop that big strong man for harass and punish people in the village. Remember what that guy prayed on God for Samson because of what the wicked people did to Eve and encouraged Delilah for did to him too. God was with him. God bless him what he asked for, and black people sit down and wait for him? For what? What God did for us, garden? God killed Pharaoh. I'm telling the word of God now. You preach this man for your program. God killed Pharaoh's son because God was talking and talking to Pharaoh, and Pharaoh refused to stop his punishment, refused to punish God people, and God have enough of it. That made God kill Pharaoh's son. God killed those servant firstborn son who was carrying out the act to Pharaoh. That is when Pharaoh decided to let God people go. It is time for black people read King James Version and stop sitting and wait upon program. Mr. Amsterdam said, go in kitchen and cook. Will that solve the problem? Dead people cannot spend $100,000. But these people wouldn't even get strength for work and go for putting $100,000. But God will give you strength to go outside there and stop it so you guys could enjoy your $100,000. Look what Judicial did to them teachers. He take back revenge for them teachers because the teachers strike on him. He give teachers money Christmas Eve and look, we see on video at them boys who original them boys say enjoy Christmas, and black man can enjoy Christmas. But some of them fat cat leaders. One more thing before we go quick. You see this brother here, Pastor London, Bombay's Adinatu. When Adinatu go and sit down with that lady, ex-ambassador, Sarah Lynch, he said, oh, from things Adinatu go and sit down with Sherilyn, Adinatu get served. The Bombay's Adinatu again. When he said, oh, he will expect Adinatu to go outside there and represent Mel, mother and grandmother. He said, okay, Adinatu will do it because Mel come against him. But over the weekend, he said, he take Ali Ann, and I believe the next guy Ann with Ali. No, this is Pastor London. Take Ali, and then we excuse, oh, well, he's not PNC. So we could shake anybody on. But these are the guys that come and tell me about the wicked Korean. And now it is alleged he getting contract to build road from Ali. My God, come on, go tell the rest. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your call. As I say, I will repeat what I say, but I will also make a disclaimer. I said the cheapest thing to buy or sell in this country is the black man, but not to say. What I find in this society is that a lot of people make a lot of noise until they get a chance to play. Right? You know, it's like them children, you go and you see a child with a toy and you try to get to play with it and you get to play with it. Keep your stinking truck, me wonder. The thing big and stinking dirty and all that. And when they say, come play with the truck, he said, it's a nice truck. I like how it's sung, I like how it look. Right? Everybody got to eat the food, is what they say. A lot of people make a lot of noise until they get the food to eat. I don't care, I will always say it. I'm a registered business, service-oriented, construction-oriented, since now was about, I think, 2003, since back then or sometime around then. And because of my activism, I refuse to even tender for any job under the PPP. Y'all call me stupid. Y'all call me economically, financially, economically nonsensical. You know what? Mouth is muzzled by the food it eats. You pay the piper, calls the tune. I don't care how impartial they claim to be, the PPP will control you with contracts, they will control you with money, they will control you with so many things. Like it or not. But how are we going to follow the line? How are you going to be championing the cause against these people for 4 years? And when it comes to the fifth one coming down to critical period, election time, when I supposed to be stepping up the heat, I shaking somebody hand and talking, but I'm not this or I'm not that, and some contractor for who? I got a price. Call your life.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. Good morning, everyone in Guyanese diaspora. Good morning to all Guyanese. And Happy New Year to one and all. Yes, Mr. Amsterdam, he who pays calls. And that's why we have constitutional measures, checks and balances. You know, in 2020, Paul Slope, sitting as on the Police Service Commission, together with Mr. Conway, etc., they were removed. And they're a constitutional body. So the Constitution was under attack. That case was made that the executive branch, the office of the so-called president, were attacking the Constitution. Then they had Jack Deere and Alan Nandilal attack the Constitution again and attacked the judiciary this time. The judiciary. In the case of the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, with ExxonMobil, and they were basically threatening the judges for their decisions. So again, we have the executive branch threatening the Constitution and threatening the judiciary. And no wonder why it is that they don't appoint these justices. It's because they want to have the freedom, as you pointed out, to hold a threat over the heads of these justices, to hold them in a type of duress purgatory, whereby they always have to think about the decisions that they're making. But that's why the Constitution has these particular safeguards. So I want to suggest something to the young lady who was on your show yesterday, and she was in front of the appeals court yesterday as well. I think her name is Miss Thomas. She was standing next door, next to Member of Parliament, Salvador. What I think sister needs to consider is that the government needs to be taken to the court. Not so much the PPP, not so much APNU. Because when APNU was in there, they didn't do it. And when the PPP was in there for the last 23, 26 years, they didn't do it either. So what do we realize? That it's not the party. If we focus this thing, and I'm saying to Comrade Norton as the opposition leadership, Nigel Hughes, and Comrade Ramsey-Tanner, and Raphael Trotman as well. These are lawyers. That we shouldn't focus on the party in this singular instance. We should focus on the government. Take the government to court. We have the evidences. I just pointed out some. There are several others. Where the executive branch, the government, see, the PPP are not the government of Bayan. We're making that mistake. Can you hear me, Mr. Amsterdam?
Yes.
The PPP are or is not the government. The government is consisting of the executive branch, the judiciary, and the National Assembly. When the PPP comes out of office, the government still exists. When APNU is in office and they come out, the government still exists. Who is the one that is responsible for appointing the justices? It is the government apparatus that has to do that. So we go to the court because opposition leaders said they would like to go to the court on these issues. That's why Ms. Thomas is in front of the court appealing to the courts. So take the government proper to the international court or whatever court you want to start with Guyana. I'm pretty sure you'll find sympathetic justices that will support protecting their own. as well as protecting the Constitution. So I want you to see, Mr. Amsterdam, I want Ms. Thomas to see that the best place to go and the evidence support that the government is weaponizing against the Constitution. How so? Because anytime you have a government that knows that the Constitution says that justices must be appointed, then it can't be that they are held in purgatory indefinitely. Because if an indefinite acting capacity was intended to be indefinite, then there would not be substantive. So the fact that a person has a particular expectancy based upon their qualification after 7 years, it's unreasonable not to promote 2 justices. Persons can say, well, this is just a one-off. It can't be a one-off because it's been happening for 20 years. So how can an executive branch deny the Constitution from exercising its intent? The intent was to promote. The intent was for them to realize that position. That's the constitutional intent. Now, the executive branch cannot be overreaching to deny the Constitution its intent. So, we have here, for the last 28 years, the executive branch has been minimizing, restricting, denying the Constitution. And that cannot be allowed to stand because the law says no branch of government can be functioning indefinitely to oppose another branch of government and say that they are satisfying the Constitution. That violates separation of powers. There's a doctrine in the law, Constitution, that says separation of powers. What we have is executive branch, the office of the president, violating the separation of powers at the detriment of the Constitution. Justice Young, 2 years ago, pointed to that. Now, lastly, Mr. Amsterdam, you raised a point, and I'm going to touch on that as well. We can alternatively go and ask for judicial review, or we can alternatively say in the review that Justice Young's point that the language is insufficient, the apparatus of the language that says we must appoint. Well, when is a timeline? There needs to be a definitive and a concise timeline, 3 weeks, 3 months, possibly, for example, whereby these commissions, Paul Slow and other the police service commissions, all of these constitutional commissions have been weaponized or been denied. So the denial by the executive branch follows a systematic scheme. It's not a one-time denial. They have been denying ever since they've been there. So the PPP, for example, but the government, more pointedly, has been denying the Constitution systematically. How do we stop that? By an amendment in the Constitution, as you pointed out. Now, that is evident. That is very recognizable at this point. It's blatant. And I think the courts will go for it. Now, the opposition leader has been saying maybe they're looking at it, but I have looked at it, and I'm not a lawyer. So you've got all these senior counsels around the place, as you pointed out, the Bar Association, and they aren't doing anything about it. So the people, we the people. So, Ms. Thomas, I may recommend, I may suggest, I can't tell you what to do, but as a private citizen, the people you have in front of the court can sign a petition, firstly, and then you can take civil action, Ms. Thomas. combined, collectively, can take the issue to court on behalf of the Guyanese people. See, that's a solution right there. That's already your solution, Ms. Thomas. And I say our solution. Now, we don't have to wait on the political party to do that, Ms. Thomas. We collectively can do that with your lead, as you have already demonstrated in front of the court. Once again, Ms. Thomas, good luck. You've got our support. Thank you for taking my call, Mr. Amsterdam.
Thank you for your call.
Morning, brother Kidaki. Good morning, Guyanese. Happy New Year.
Call it on.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. How are you this morning? On the topic of Zulfikar Mustafa that fired the guy, or the person, that person will get the job back. If you can remember when Tabitha Sarabu Hali fired those persons from the...
All right thinking Guyanese, especially our real African brothers and sisters. Gentlemen, let me do the comparison. This Chief Justice and Chancellor of the Judiciary. If y'all can recall that the Chief Justice, remember she was in bed with the PPP? I want to know how all of a sudden these people can confirm this woman especially. There gotta be something happen. There gotta be the woman realize what happened with this installed government when they was installed in power. When she really must see, when she really think back that this thing that she done to Guyanese people with the 5 years or the 4 years that these people installing governments. You understand me? I think that is something is the reason make this installed president 19 for a charge can't confirm this to extinguish African woman, brilliant African woman, because they are black. That is the old fact, and you can't get them to black woman, especially the Chancellor of the Judiciary, especially her. They can't get to do the nasty work for this coming election. That's what they're trying to get you to them. Boss, let me tell you something. This PPP want this country to be an Indian state. Must only have Indian people up top there that they can agree with them. Because skullduggery, you look at most of this skullduggery that's going on in Guyana. It's Indian people. They are the biggest of everything in this country. That's why I tell you, Indian people, God is money, plenty money. I told y'all that. These people looking after money. The people looking after money and nothing else. They people studying debt. All these people so hungry and vicious so money in this country. Watch all the wealthy ones them. They're saying not with all that this government doing. All that this government doing to people in this country, especially our African brothers and sisters. You see, they are point against because they are point against. They ever continue to do that dirty work for election. They will never find them to extinguish African women. They will never find them. They're gonna try to get two Indian person to put there. You watch. I'm in Indian and the black. And the black what they're gonna put there. It's gonna be like a puppet on the string for these PPP governments. These people want you to hit the street. The street is the place for go. This is election year. The only way we can get things in order and get things put in place, we have to hit the road. Because these people don't care. These people are evil. These people are very wicked set of people that we have mashing up our country. These people pass dictatorship. These people pass undemocratic. We got to get a next word for these people. A next word we got to get to these people undemocratic, song too nice for these people, too wonderful for these people. We got to get a next word. One of the most dangerous words we ever find for these people, boss. These people don't have no regards for Guyanese people. No regards whatsoever, Guyanese. Guyanese, let me look at it for the past 4 years. They're going into 5 years now. And these people don't have no turning back. These people get more vicious on us. Instead of talking about the next cash grant. Yeah? The people them don't got no time with Guyanese. This is election gimmicks, Guyanese. Election gimmicks. Election gimmicks. These people don't believe in giving Guyanese money. You have to work for this money in this country. They don't, people have we got to work for it before we get it. Come on, Guyanese people, let me wake up, man. Wake up. Wake up. This 2025 we there now. With a new year start. Let me start. Get on these people's necks. Or get on their backs. The weak back, the weak.
In Guyana, sit down there and believe that you can win in power by election, you're making a sad mistake. Even though I'm not saying that you should not do all that you can to do the right thing. But if you think Guyanese PNC opposition can be in power by election, that's a sad mistake. Judicial is making all strategy, all move, backdoor move, illegal move to remain there. Okay? And let me tell you something. Judicial is nothing other than a fearful man. Judicial is a coward. Anytime Judicial goes in the power, what he does? He drags black people to death, kill people, destroy, drive fear into you guys. That you would look at him as a man that have no mercy. You understand me? He drives fears into you like a man, a thief enters into a man's house, and what the man does, he drags his cutlass. Instead of going and strategize so to kill this man, he drags his cutlass. That's what Judicial is doing. Driving fear. Kill a few black people, here, and kill a few black people here, and drive fear into others that you can have. But he's a fearful man. Trust me. So if you guys think that legally you can get in the power, some other power get to assist you guys to be in power. That's all I see and all I can.
You tune to the Guyanese Morning Time. I am your host, Kirati Amsterdam. It is now 12 minutes late, the clock over. Let me remind you that on the 26th, yes, Sunday the 26th, we have an after lunch here. Big people after lunch and line, all these big people after lunch and all these line. Come on down the 26th of January, yes, right here at Twilight. Only $1,000. $1,000 a day, only $1,000 to participate. Just come down and let's have a good Sunday afternoon hangout with the big people then. Super Cat One Man Band is going to be providing entertainment for you. So, bring them big people out, man. They're locked up in too long, they gotta get a little socialization, Come out and let's have some fun. Let me see how Granny fit. Yes, big people after lunch and Holy's line, Sunday the 26th at Club Twilight with Super Cat, Cam's Audio, popular DJs and sound systems. Right, at 11 minutes to the 9 o'clock hour, you tune to Camps TV. I don't know, I'm a positivist. I'm positive that we can remove the PPP from government through legal means, through elections. I just believe that a lot of work has to be done, and a lot of people have to come on board to get the work done. I'm hearing a certain whisper, but I'm holding my breath to know. Y'all gonna hear about it though. It's happening at GCOM. It's happening at GCOM. But we're gonna hear about it later. And then there is a protest. The protest continues in front of GCOM yeah, this afternoon, 11, 12 o'clock, thereabout, go out and join the protesters as we continue to call for a clean voters list and biometric. Can't wait until 11, 12. I just received a message that says, I'm right. When I say that the PPP has already started to rig the election. Thank you for the confirmation. I will tell you something. I'm sure a lot of you, especially those in the first world countries, know about gerrymandering and so on. And I did tell you before what the PPP is doing, even in their land allocation. The opposition traditionally wins the election once they win Region 4, Region 10, and another 1 or 2 regions around the place. They win the election because of the population density. What the PPP has been doing over the years is removing opposition supporters from opposition support base and putting them in PPP strongholds. Let me explain that to you. If in your household you got 10 children that support the father, every time you come up against the father, 10 children stand up for the father. You can't win. But as a wise woman, you say, you know what? I gotta stop this nonsense. I gotta find a way to defeat this man in this house. Here what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna offer to rent houses to these 10 children and let them move out. Let them move out. So when I stand up against he, it's he and me. Or it's he, me, and the 2 children that support me. See, Gary. I don't know if you're understanding that analogy. This is what the PPP has been in. When you all apply for house lots, they take you out to Region 4 and they send you to Region 3 because that's their stronghold. So the more people who move from Region 4 to Region 3 means less votes in Region 4 for the coalition. Right? But more votes in Region 3. In Region 3, they'll send your votes over there. Your votes didn't really necessarily get no impact because you know what I said, kneeling a haystack. You know, kneeling a haystack. They got a man named Joseph from Melanie. Joseph has shown us how the PPP quietly shifted the boundaries of Melanie. Shifted a section of Melanie into enterprise. So the votes that are registered, when Melanie, people tell themselves they're voting in Melanie and so on, the votes are actually counted in enterprise. Good. These are ways and means of, like we say, gerrymandering. What are the impacts on general and regional elections? Only time will tell. On local government elections, they are almost seen immediately because local government elections are about localities. The regional and general elections, wherever you cast a vote for the coalition, you cast a vote for the coalition, it's counted for the coalition and so on, or the opposition and so on and so forth. But the displacements make it difficult for you to even vote. When you wake up election morning and realize, hey, my voting place is not at the primary school where I register. My voting place is way back in Buxton or in BV or in Enmore or someplace. Frustration usually is there. Me able with the main guy vote. And so we have to start to talk to our people about the importance of being determined to cast the vote. The importance of resilience. I move me till a day. You never come from there if you come back to Buxton to vote. Then there's a claims and objection period. You can ask a transfer. Get a transfer, no man. But are the activists telling people these things? I wonder if they really are telling people these things. That's why I say we have a lot of work to do, but who is doing the work? Who is doing the work? It's 4 minutes to the 9 o'clock hour. It's time for me to go my business. Go look after my own business. So the Zelle and Cash App was scrolling across the screen there. I get that tongue, you know. The Zelle and Cash App was scrolling across the screen all morning, and the MMG number 62593 is also there. So you can decide whether or not you want to make a financial contribution. That's all on you. What I want you to do is ensure you share the program, ensure you encourage others to view, to subscribe, and join the conversation. Right? Join the conversation. Or just asking if the PPP knows that they're good, they're a good administration for this country. Why they're going through all the illegalities? The PPP know that they're good for themselves, and they will leave nothing up to chance. Unlike some of us, our people, we tell ourselves that we're so good that we could leave things up to chance. There are a lot of people who say promises have been made to remove the PPP from government and so on. I ain't standing on no promise. Those who are making promises to me, I will give them one promise. I'm not going to upturn the apple cart to affect your interests. I know you got your interests. I'm going to respect your interests. But I'm going to stand up for my people to ensure their interests too are protected and defended. Right? That's a position I think we need to take. Right? I could look out for your interest, but I could look out for my interest at the same time. Why you want I take a promise that you want to look out for me interest and just walk back? Can't walk somehow. Me no walk back, Judge. People gotta get wise in this time. Promises are comforts to fools. Y'all have a good day. Much love. Much love. I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, David Hines, Professor David Hines is likely to be on. I hope so. And then on Thursday, we have former Finance Minister Winston Jordan, who will talk with us. In the meantime, remember to support the small businesses. You have Golden Crisp, you have Ronda's seasoning, you have Exotic Bites, Rock On Spices, CNG, I think, LNG, graphics design, and so on and so forth. I'll support them. You know them all by now. They were all at the Christmas market and expo and so on and so forth. Support our small businesses. I beg. And come down to Club Twilight and support Club Twilight too. Good? Come down and take a drink this afternoon, late in the evening, late in the week, you know, Friday afternoon, Saturday, you know, Thursday night is karaoke at Club Twilight. Come and support the thing. I remember the 26th, Super Cat is going to be here after lunch for the elders, after lunch. Big people after lunch. I think I don't do with the elders. A big people party after lunch. Right? Y'all have a good one. Stay safe. See you when I see you. Let me see if there's any other voice. I didn't check. Oh, there is one. Did I play it? Let me see. I'm playing it. Even if I.
Karaki, blessings and good morning to you and our listeners. Karaki, you are doing a wonderful job. And I was most impressed when I listened this woman Mrs. Thomas. I cannot pronounce the first name, but this woman is an impeccable woman. She explained everything so that the layman's man could understand. Karaki, with the appointing of the Chief Justice and the next African woman, Karaki that no biasness on it. Karaki that race. There's nothing else more than race. And the reason why these people are operating like that is because they don't know God. They don't have no God in them. And listening to the last speaker there a while ago, I don't see the PPP winning this election. The only way the PPP could win this election is if they take up a gun and stage a coup. God have a hand in this. You can't be doing these things and expect good to prevail. No, that can't happen. Karaki, these people running this country to a reckoning. And I know Guyanese people are not foolish. They are aware what it is happening. And the reason why the PPP are doing this is because they were not elected. They were installed. So they're doing these kind of damages. But as I say, God have a hand in this. Have a good one.
And that's a wrap.